This is Danny Thompson. Danny is working really hard on getting this land speed record car built. This car goes back a long way. There's a lot of emotion connected with this car, and I'm going to let Danny kind of talk about the project, the background on this car. Let's go on, tell the folks what's going on.
Well, this is a car that my dad built 45 years ago. My dad was Mickey Thompson, and he built this thing to go after the record that he never really got. In 1960, he went 406 miles an hour at the Bonneville Salt Flats, but at Bonneville, to get a record, you have to do it 2 times, and you have to do it 2 times within 1 hour. My dad went 406 one way and broke on the return run. So he didn't get that official record. He was the world's fastest American, first American to go over 400 miles an hour, but he didn't get that elusive record. So in 1968, with Ford, my dad had a group of the absolute most talented Southern California hot rodders and drag racers that there was, not just Southern California, the whole world. And those guys all came together and they built this car right here that we're looking at 45 years ago. My dad ran it in 68. It ran 400 miles an hour in testing. When they were ready to run, to actually go for the record, it rained. That was 68. Then in 69, when he was going to go back, that's when Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler all quit racing. They said, win on Sunday, sell on Monday's not working for us. And so this thing went in a trailer. It's been sitting in a trailer for 45 years. Now in 1988, my dad came to me and says, I want to run this car again, and I want you to drive it, which is just, that gives me goosebumps just talking about it. It was going to be a father-son project. I was driving, I was working on it. My dad was going to run the front end, arrange for sponsorship and everything else. Well, 3 weeks after we consummated this deal, my dad got murdered. So then back in the trailer for another 25 years. It's been 25 years since my dad got killed. Now we're back out. We're making it happen. We're taking the original car. We're updating it. We're bringing a new engine package, a new transmission package, new clutch package. The aero is pretty much all going to be the same, a little bit different on the tail. We're resurrecting this thing, bringing it back. We're going to go get that record for my dad, Mickey Thompson, and for me, Danny Thompson.
Now, Danny, you're basically financing this thing with some help from your friends, and mainly yourself, though, really. You're doing all the work, have some friends helping out, financing most of this yourself. How's that all working out? This has got to be a $500,000 project.
Yeah, well, it's definitely way more than $500,000 because you just figure the engine package is $500,000 by itself. We have Mickey Thompson Tires as a sponsor, which is really good because that keeps the name all involved. But rest of it, I've been selling cars. I've been hawking everything I've had. I haven't been paid in 2 years. It's passion. It's passion. I want to do this. I want to do it for my dad to finish. There wasn't too many things that my dad ever did that he didn't finish. This happened to be one of them. And we were going to finish it as a father-son team, and now I want to finish it. I want to finish it for him, and I want to go fast, really, really bad. This thing, the record, I don't really consider the classes at Bonneville too much. Piston-powered, wheel-driven, that's the class. And whether it's blown or unblown or fuel or gas or nitrous or whatever, I don't care about that much. I want to be the fastest guy in a piston-powered, wheel-driven car at the end of the day. And that record right now is George Poteet at 439 miles an hour. Yeah. So we got to go 450 anyway.
Yeah. Danny, I've known you for a long time, and I know you have driven pretty much every single kind of race car I can think of. NASCAR-type cars, Indy cars, sports cars, every kind of car. But you haven't gone up there and broken a land speed record. This one will be for you. This will be a little bit new. You've been up at Bonneville running record cars and the Mustangs and things like that.
All right. That'll be substantially different. The fastest I've been at Bonneville is 286 out the back door. We have a record still with the Bonneville with the Mustang, with an AccuFab motor, and that was a bad car, but that's 258 miles an hour. Yeah. So from 258 to 458,
that's a big jump.
Yeah, that's a big number.
Very big
that's
jump.
a big. But I think the car went 400 miles an hour in 1968. So aerodynamically, we're good. The trick at Bonneville is now we're going to have 2,000 horsepower apiece per engine. I sit in between these two engines, but the tire is only a 4-inch wide tire with 100 pounds of air pressure in it. So getting 4,000 horsepower through those 4 tires that are only 4-inch of patch on the ground, that's the trick at Bonneville, is driving on snow.
Yeah. It's always been elusive, which is why not very many people have been able to accomplish this. Look how many years went by between records in that class. You know, some 20 years every now and then between records from the Summers Brothers time and all that stuff.
Well, from until last year when George Poteet really stepped the record up, Summers Brothers went 409 in 1965. Al Teague went 409, and I forget when it was, but the actual record, Summers Brothers record, held for 48 years.
Yeah.
And that's multitudes of people going up there every year.
And
trying, yeah. Now, this year is probably going to be the most exciting Bonneville year for the fast cars that we've had since Breedlove and Art Arfons and the Jet days. Because I think there's going to be 10 cars up there potentially that'll run over 400 mile an hour, most ever at one time.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Well, I sure hope to see this car up. Now, do you think you can get the car done at least to do some testing this year? What's the plan in that area?
The plan is we're still shooting for August for Speed Week, and at least get up there and do some R&R work and make sure that the shifters work, make sure that the parachutes come out, make sure it steers. Steering is way critical on these cars, because this car here is only 32 inches wide in the front. Now you got to put a rear end in there, U-joints, steering knuckles, everything in a real short thing. So that's Tim Gibson is our guy there. He's our aerodynamicist, and he's also doing all the mechanical stuff on there, and ex-drag racer. And Gibson's just about got it done. I hope today he's going to be here with the final drawings, and we'll get that done. So we still have a lot of work to do, and it's Frank and I basically the only ones that actually hands-on work on the car. It's only been me for the last 2 years, and now Frank's come on board last 3 months ago, and he's really, you know, making the progress happen. So we're shooting for August. If not, we still have September, and we still have October. And whether we go fast or not this year, that's yet to be seen. I mean, if the thing fell off the truck and it was a rocket ship, you know,
it's going to be tough for you to not push down on the loud pedal. I know that. But the truth is, if you could just get up there and get some runs in, get some runs under your belt, these things are never really finished, so you're always modifying something based on what you've learned. And of course, the only way to learn what's going on is to do it. And I know what that's like. So
you've been there a lot of times. You spent a lot of months up there, and so you do know what it's like. Bonneville's a different animal. One of the problems with Bonneville is the window of opportunity. Basically, you have a week in August, you got 4 days in September, and you got 3 days in October. That's it for the entire year.
And that's depending on weather not cutting you off, too.
Exactly. So the window of opportunity is very narrow. If you make one run a day at Bonneville, you're doing pretty good. So it's not like you can go out and make 10 laps and come in and make an adjustment and go back out and do another lap, and you get a bunch of tries a day. And especially with this thing, 2 engines, we figure it's going to take 15 people to turn this thing around in 1 hour. It's going to use 60 gallons of fuel to go 5 miles. 0.083 miles
a lot of plugs
per
to
gallon.
change.
32 spark plugs. I mean, it's a very labor-intensive, work-intensive deal.
You know, people don't realize that on a record run like this, you have you're under power for a lot longer than a quarter of a mile. It's not like a drag car. This thing's got to be under power for what, 3 miles or more, 4 miles maybe?
Yeah, 5 miles.
5 miles at least to get, and that's asking a lot for an engine to be under full power for that length of time.
It is, especially a dry block. There's no water in these blocks.
Yeah.
They're the typical drag racing deal.
Yeah.
It's a Brad Anderson block and heads, and we figure, well, when we ran the Mustang and we ran 258, it took 1 minute 32 seconds from the time you dropped the clutch until the time you pulled the parachute. So that was
it's a lot longer than 5 seconds.
Exactly.
6 seconds.
Yeah, now we're talking about 68 to 70 seconds.
Yeah.
And that'd be pushing 500 mile an hour, which would be a pretty magic number.
That would be okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know we're all for you. We want this to come back. We want to see this car. There's a lot of us that have seen this car in the past and been around the people that were involved in this car, and we'd like nothing better than to see you go out there and haul ass.
Thank you, George. I mean, I want to do it for the Nye Franks and the Tom Jobs, and I mean, these are the guys. My dad got all the credit for this thing because it was his deal and his project. But some of those guys, you knew Nye really well. Some of those guys are my absolute heroes, and they're the guys that built this car. So I want to finish it for them too. You know, so be a lot of people from up above, hopefully patting us on the ass,
pushing you down the pike.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, sir.
Thank you.